So, what is the Titanic? The basics. The Titanic was a massive passenger ship built to be the pride of early 20th century engineering. It wasn't just big. It was advertised as the largest moving object ever created by human hands. A floating palace on the sea, designed for luxury, speed, and the promise of safety. But that promise would become the very reason its name lives forever in history. How it works? The Titanic was powered by steam. Huge boilers burned coal, feeding 2 giant reciprocating engines and a turbine, turning 3 enormous propellers. It could carry over 2,400 passengers and crew across the Atlantic, with grand dining halls, chandeliers, and cabins ranging from opulent suites to cramped bunks. It was fitted with watertight compartments, a design thought to make it unsinkable. But only 16 lifeboats and 4 collapsible boats were placed on board, barely enough for half the people sailing. History/origins. The Titanic was built in Belfast, Ireland, by the shipbuilding company Harland & Wolff, commissioned by the White Star Line. Construction began in 1909, and it took over 2 years and thousands of workers to bring it to life. On April 10, 1912, it departed from Southampton, England, on its maiden voyage, headed to New York City. 4 days later, on the night of April 14th, the Titanic struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic. By the early hours of April 15th, the unsinkable ship had vanished beneath the waves. Impact/legacy. The sinking of the Titanic was one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. More than 1,500 lives were lost, many due to the shortage of lifeboats and the bitter cold of the ocean. It shocked the world, forever changing how ships were designed, how safety rules were enforced, and how warnings at sea were handled. It also became a cultural symbol, a story retold in books, films, and endless retellings of human hubris versus nature's power. The Titanic is no longer just a ship. It's a legend, frozen in time, resting 2.5 miles beneath the sea. Random facts that don't seem real. The Titanic's radio operators received iceberg warnings the very night it sank. But some were ignored because they interrupted passenger messages. The ship carried over 20,000 bottles of beer, 8,000 cigars, and 1,500 bottles of wine. Most of it never reached its destination. The band famously kept playing music as the ship went down, their final song remembered as "Nearer, My God, to Thee." When the wreck was finally discovered in 1985, the Titanic was split in 2, lying nearly 2,000 feet apart on the ocean floor. Today, some of the ship's china, shoes, and personal belongings are still preserved in the deep, shielded from decay by the freezing waters. Conclusion. So, what is the Titanic? It's a story of ambition and arrogance, of hope and heartbreak, of technology that met its match in the natural world. Poetic reflection. Icy steel. A palace of steel that could not outlast ice. Dreams that were grand but paid a dear price. The ocean remembers, though centuries fade, a whisper of sorrow in the wreck it made. The Titanic sails still, in memory, not wave.